Hey there. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm still kind of getting back into the whole mix of things, getting back into the routine of making videos. Like I've said before, I'm pretty sure I've said this before, and if I haven't, I think it should be pretty obvious that I'm a fairly lazy individual. Procrastinate a lot and stuff like that. But I have far fewer excuses to not record now. So here I am. I'm just tapping on the coaster right now. I don't have really anything planned for this video. In the last video, I had the macaroni, and I think I tapped on the clapperboard. Yeah, I have a terrible memory. I don't know, when it comes to things like remembering what you did like yesterday, I have a bad memory. But when it comes to like remembering like big moments, well, sorry about that. When it comes to remembering like big moments, like big events, or like, you know what I mean. I feel like I'm okay at remembering those things. Even that, I'm not the greatest at, but it is what it is. But yeah, no plan for this video. Just gonna be making random sounds. People said they liked the phone tapping, I'm pretty sure. Let's see if this has any battery. I haven't used this, and it was at 100%, and it's dead. It just dies on its own. Anyway. I don't know if I did fingertip tapping. It's kind of hard to do. But yeah. There is one thing I want to talk about. And this is just a pet peeve I have with, I guess, society. But it's mostly just something you see a lot on the internet, so it's hard to tell if it's like reality or whatever, but it's really annoying in my opinion. But the thing is that the phenomenon, I guess you can call it, is when someone takes a video or makes a post about something that they're like, it's an opinion. Like when someone shares their opinion online, everyone automatically takes their opinion and applies it to the entire demographic that that person is a part of. So a really good example, and the one that you see most commonly, in my opinion, is like, you'll have those like people that do like street interviews, which I'm not a big fan of street interviews to begin with, but you see a lot of people doing street interviews nowadays, and they'll walk up to like a girl and be like, so what's your ideal guy? And she'll be like, oh, well, he has to be like 9 feet tall and he has to make $1 billion a year, like just outrageous things that any sane person would realize, like, that is insane. Obviously I'm exaggerating, but quite commonly the response in the video is that like they want like a top 0.0001 percentile of people, But then you go to the comments on those like posts and stuff, and you see every single time it's like, goddamn women like having standards that are way too high. It's like, this is one individual that just is delusional. Like, you can't just, what? It happens every single fucking time. And it's not just that. It happens with literally like anything that you can have an opinion on. If anyone shares their opinion on anything, especially if it's like a really dumb opinion, if anyone shares their opinion, everyone else is just going to take that and extrapolate it to apply it to the entire demographic that that person is a part of. It's really annoying in my opinion. It kind of goes hand in hand with like the polarization of society that you see nowadays, where like you're not allowed to be like, to like approach thing like from a level mind, you know, like see both sides of the coin. Like, no, you either have to be completely for something or completely against something. If you try to be like neutral about anything, you're just going to get attacked by both sides. With anything, politics, religion, like social shit, you know. And I get it, you know. There is, at the end of the day, you know, you have to make a call when it comes to like making laws and stuff with regard to like politics specifically, because it's one of the things that you see most commonly being polarized nowadays. Obviously, a decision has to be made, so you can't just stay neutral the whole time. So I get that. Like, if you're just someone that's just always neutral no matter what, you know, that can be frustrating to people, because it's like, just shut the fuck up, you're not helping anything. But at the same time, you can make a decision after coming into the discussion being neutral, right? Like, that's the important part, in my opinion, is entering a discussion with a neutral stance, or at least having the willingness to like hear out the opposition, right? Like, but that's like too much for people nowadays. On every side of the coin, it doesn't matter what side you're on. And again, this kind of falls into the case of like, it's so hard to tell what's real nowadays, you know? It's like any news, like any journalist, any news outlet can just take the smallest, most insignificant story and make it seem like it's this massive thing that's happening all across the country that's super important. And it's like, sorry, you know, it's like, okay, nobody cares about this, you know, but it's hard to tell. It's hard to decipher what is actually important from what they're just making seem important. And there's, on top of all of that, you know, they have an incentive to rile you up. It's well known that like a lot of social media apps and news outlets by association, they work off of a system where, you know, the more outraged they make you, the more, you know, traction they get, you know, the more traffic they get to their site or to their article, and that just drives the advertisement sales and stuff like that. So they have an incentive to just make these really insignificant stories seem really big so that you get riled up, and it's this never-ending loop of like just bullshit. Just like, can we all just take a step back and think about what really matters? I don't know. And that's not to say that every single thing in the news doesn't matter. Also, this isn't with anything in particular like going on right now. I'm just now realizing that there was a mass shooting that happened recently, which is very tragic. So I'm not trying to push my political views on anyone. I'm just saying in general, the trend we've been seeing with news and journalism and social media, it's just designed to make you mad, to get you outraged, so you leave a comment, so you look at other articles, and, you know, so you watch those ads. That's what it's all about nowadays. But that wasn't really what I started talking about. That's the polarization of society. But what I started talking about was like, it's like ultra stereotyping. Like, stereotypes are bad for the most part. I mean, sometimes they can like be accurate, sure. But for the most part, you should approach every situation with an open mind. You know, you can't judge someone before you've even met them, you know. Um, so stereotypes are bad, and you just see that on like a wide scale, like on like an insane scale, where like you take the opinion and the actions of a single individual and you apply them to an entire demographic. I mean, in this case, we're talking about like one woman in a video talking about delusional standards, and then you're applying that to 4 billion human beings. It's just insane. It's really annoying. Like I said, you see that with a lot of things. I can't really think of a better example than that right off the top of my head, but I have seen it a lot, and it's really annoying to me. I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what it was. Hopefully that's not like a really like downer subject for an ASMR video. I imagine most people just tune me out anyway and just listen to my voice. They're not listening to the words, they're just listening to the sound, you know? So, it probably doesn't matter what I talk about, but I'll admit that that's probably not the best conversation for an ASMR video. But it's probably not the weirdest thing I've talked about on this channel, so these are just the things that pop into my mind, okay? If you don't want to hear me talk about things like this, then you can go watch someone else, that's fine. I really want to know what I was going to say. I had this whole thing in my mind, and now I'm completely lost. All right, you have to let me know. What sounds better? The glass side or the metal side? They're pretty similar, honestly. The metal side is just a little bit like a higher frequency noise. It's a little higher pitched. This is a little bassier. But yeah, let me know which one you like more. I don't know why, but I like putting things on top of the mic like that. I just find it satisfying for some reason. By the way, for some reason I didn't do this on my old phone, so I don't know like what, level of phone you need to have in order to get this. But you know how on some of the user interfaces with iOS, there's like the dials, especially when you're setting like a timer or like setting an alarm. You'll have the dial that says like hours, minutes, seconds, or whatever. And it's like a dial, so you can like scroll through all the numbers. I don't know if anyone else has used this before, but on my new phone, it's so satisfying to scroll through the numbers because the sound, the little like tick sound when you like go past each number is really good. But then on top of that, the phone has like a little haptic, like a buzz, like a physical feeling buzz. I honestly have no idea how the phone makes like those like micro like, it's not like a vibration. It's just like a singular like thump. I don't know how it makes them, but when you scroll through those numbers on my new phone, it is so satisfying. I know it's a really weird thing to like consider satisfying, I guess. I don't know. But the other day I was like setting an alarm or something, and I did it. I was like, holy shit. I just did it for like 5 minutes. I was just scrolling through the numbers because it was really satisfying. So whoever worked on the sounds and the haptics for that particular, you know, system, well done. It made me feel like a safe cracker or something, where they're like listening really closely and like spinning the thing, you know. Does that make an interesting sound? It's kind of like a scratch tapping, but it's a very like, because the finish on this is extremely smooth, so it like barely makes like a scratching sound. I mean, that's like it's a sound, obviously, but I wouldn't say that it's a scratching sound. I don't know. I don't even know what I'd call that. Like a rub, I guess, like a rubbing sound. I am scratching it physically. I mean, well, not like leaving a scratch, but like I am using my nails to scratch it. So maybe it is a scratch, but it doesn't really sound like a scratch, in my opinion. Imagine if your nails were hard enough to scratch metal. I mean, I think this is only aluminum, so it's not the hardest of metals out there, but that would still be pretty wild. Nails are pretty cool if you really think about it. You've got this built-in regenerating like weapon, essentially. Now, on the human, it's not nearly as substantial as on like a lion or a bear or something, you know, but it's still pretty cool. What about if I go over the Apple logo? Because it's kind of like indented a little bit. Bumped the microphone again. I'm sorry, I keep doing that. Is that a bad sound? That might be a bad sound, I don't know. I don't know. You'll have to let me know. I'm going to stop doing that one though, because I feel like that one might be bad, and I don't want to make bad sounds. Let's tap on the secret notebook. That's got pretty good sounds. I like that a lot. Yeah, it's pretty cool though. It's pretty cool. I don't know if anyone else gets this, but if you're ever watching videos about like the human body, or just like human existence, like Kurtz Kurtzagast. I don't know if that's how you say it. Um, they're like an educational channel on YouTube. Um, they're not the only one, but they're a good example. Whenever they talk about like your immune system and how it functions, I don't know, I can't help but like, I don't know, it just makes me happy for whatever reason. I don't know, I guess I'm just a weirdo, but there's something about like hearing about humanity and or like how the human body functions or like how humans evolved from like apes and stuff that just makes me like giddy inside. I don't know why. It's like it's just cool knowing that like I'm a part of like this huge thing that came before me, and also that like my body is doing all of these things that I like don't have to ask it to do, but it just does like automatically, you know. I don't know, it just makes me, whenever I'm watching those videos, I always like break out laughing and smiling, even though it's not really funny. It just makes me happy. I find it kind of weird that, you know, a lot of people that are very religious, you know, a lot of them have a problem with the idea of evolution because they it seems like they think it makes them less special, you know. They weren't created by some all-powerful deity, right? It like it's cooler to be created by an all-powerful deity than it is to just like evolve randomly. To them, that's what I'm saying. That is their mentality. At least I'm assuming. But to me, honestly, evolving from apes is like not only way cooler, but it's like way more special in my opinion, because it's like A, we could have been anything, right? And B, we like maybe wouldn't have even existed at all. Like we overcame the odds. I don't know. It's like the classic like human struggle archetype, like story arc. It's ingrained in humanity from its very conception, you know. It's like we didn't have to exist. There was no, you know, predetermination. There was no guiding hand. It was all chance. And yet here we are, you know. Like to me that just it makes me happy. It's cool to think that I was like a part of this lineage, you know. And it's also cool thinking that like I came pretty early in the story of humanity, likely. Obviously no one knows for certain how long humanity is going to last in the universe. Kurtzgast actually just made a video about this, which was really good. But it seems like there's a pretty decent chance that we're still very early in the story of humanity, which is pretty cool, you know. There was a Vsauce video that kind of touches on this as well. It's the video, I think the title of the video is like, "Will Humans Go Extinct?" or something like that. And in the video, he proposes the idea that humanity is doomed to go extinct soon. It was some kind of paradox or some kind of theory or something. And the theory goes that, you know, if humanity is going to last to be, you know, at this point in time, I think there's been like 100 billion people or something like that. Somewhere around there, I think. I'm not 100% sure. But if, let's say, humanity's going to last to be like 50 quadrillion people, right? And and you could have been randomly picked to be any one of them, right? At any point in time, your consciousness, your person, as you exist right now, you could have been any one of the people, any one of the 50 quadrillion people that lived. It's pretty low. There's a pretty low chance that you would have been one of the ones that lived within the first 100 billion, because there's astronomically more to choose from, like, later on, you know. That's how it goes anyway. So because we are existing right now, the idea goes that we will go extinct soon, because it's more likely that you live somewhere in the middle to the end than it is somewhere at the very beginning. I don't want to worry anyone. Again, this might be bad conversation for a relaxing video. I don't think we're going to go extinct anytime soon. But it's a thought experiment, you know. But chances are that humanity will continue for a really long time. And we probably are very, very early in the story of humanity. And that's pretty cool, you know. Not to mention, I mean, we live in a time where, like, shit is happening, you know. It's like, let's assume again that, like, humanity's gonna exist to be like 50 quadrillion people or whatever. You know, at a certain point, like, what is there even to, like, do? They'll invent the ability to go between star systems, or maybe even go between galaxies or some shit. But at that point, life for humanity is just about expanding, you know? It's not really about inventing. Everything that we could have invented pretty much will have been invented. Now, obviously, there's always going to be new ways of doing things and whatnot, but, like, as far as truly novel experiences and things go, I think right now we're living in kind of the time. I don't know. I'm probably underestimating just how many things there are to invent, but still, it's kind of cool to think that we're really early in the story of humanity. There's another thing, you know, there's a lot of people like sci-fi. I like sci-fi quite a lot. The whole idea of being an interstellar civilization where, you know, humanity is in all reaches of the galaxy, and you know, can fly between planets super quickly and stuff like that. It's super cool as a concept. But something that a lot of sci-fi portrayals fail to portray is that humanity would probably begin to look very different depending on where you were in the galaxy, you know. Because, like, and this is also something that just never gets shown, like Star Wars, for instance, you know. They go to a bunch of different planets in Star Wars, but they never show, like, the planets having different amounts of gravity. Like, it seems like everywhere just always has Earth-like gravity, which maybe they're, you know, I suppose it is within the realm of possibilities that in order to preserve humanity's image, we would only settle planets that are exactly like Earth, you know. Because the one thing I was going to say is that if you were to settle a planet that had, like, you know, like Mars, everyone always talks about, like, colonizing Mars. We've got plans to put moon bases on the moon and Mars bases on Mars and stuff like that. But Mars has, like, a third the gravity of Earth. And the moon has, like, an eighth the gravity of Earth, I'm pretty sure. If you were born and grew up on Mars, you would probably look way different than the humans that were born and grew up on Earth, because the gravity would change how your body grows. Like, you you'd probably be really tall and thin. And then likewise, if you grew up on a planet with like really strong gravity, you'd probably be really short and like stocky, like chubby, big boned. And I mean, you continue that over like thousands of generations, and humanity would start to look very different, I think, after a certain point in time. It's something you just don't really see a lot, and it's kind of an unfortunate aspect of reality, because while it is cool to imagine a future where we are an interstellar species, there is a part of me that feels a little bit robbed when I consider the fact that like those humans would probably not all look like we do now, you know? I don't know. I mean, I guess they would still be humanity, so I should still root for them. And maybe it sounds like really wrong to say that I wouldn't want to. I don't know. I'm not racist or anything, I swear. But yeah, like if there was this human that looked like a completely different creature altogether, it's like, you know, the connection there, like that's what I'm talking about. It's like, would there still be that connection? Because like between all humans there is a connection, regardless of who you are and what you are, you know, like every human being connects with every other human being. It's just a part of who we are, you know. We came from a species of animal that creates tight-knit tribes, right? So it's only natural that we have that sense of bond, that sense of community. And I feel like if we all looked extremely different, that maybe we would lose that sense of community. I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe we wouldn't. Maybe I'm being too harsh on humanity. I guess we'll never know, because unfortunately that's not going to happen within our lifetimes. I mean, maybe by the time like I'm like 100 years old, we'll have people that are like growing up on Mars. Maybe. That'll be the year 2100, which is, I mean, that's pretty futuristic. That's pretty far into the future, but that's a pretty optimistic timeline, I think. There's just not a lot of incentive to go to Mars and go to the moon. It's just not a priority for countries, and I get it. You know, as cool as it is, as much of a fan of sci-fi as I am, there are problems here on Earth that need solving a bit more than going to the moon and going to Mars. It's a bit of a shame, but that's just the way things are. So probably won't happen in our lifetime, but who knows? Yeah. Anyway, I think that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.